Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Shara Zor-El here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 6 of season 3 of What If Izuku Was a Stand User. Before we begin, I want to let you all know that this is not the final episode of this What If. We will be continuing this story beyond the average 20 episodes to around 26 or so parts. There's still a lot more action and plot to this story that we simply cannot cram into 20 whole episodes. So, with that out of the way, sit back and relax, because the newest episode begins now. It was lunch period at UA as Izuku was in the cafeteria looking around to find someone to sit with. He was originally going to eat with Uraraka, but told him at the last second she'd get lunch later as she decided to take up Aizawa's offer for counseling with Hound Dog. It was 4 hours into the first day back since the internships, and Uraraka's mood had only worsened as the day went on. Midoriya thought Jiro might be around, but couldn't find her or anyone else in his class. That was until he spotted Todoroki eating by himself. Izuku remembered how he wanted to speak to him during the sports festival about his father, but never got around to doing it as he was too focused on other priorities, like the internships. As such, he never had the chance to properly speak to him, until now. He already had guilt on his shoulders for believing he didn't do enough to help Ida when he had several chances to do so, and he wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. Hey, Todoroki. Is anyone sitting here?
Midoriya, hey. No one's sitting here. You're good.
Midoriya nodded as he placed his tray on the table and sat across from the recommended student. The two were quiet for a moment before Midoriya spoke. So, how's it going, Todoroki? You're sitting here by yourself.
Yeah. Well, with everything that happened, I just needed some time to myself to process everything.
Shoto explained as Midoriya began eating.
How are you holding up, though? I know you and Tenya were close, along with Uraraka, and I know she's been a mess since this morning.
Yeah, she really isn't taking this well, Midoriya responded. I mean, I'm doing better than I was earlier. I never thought we'd lose one of our classmates to a villain, let alone Ida. I mean, yeah, I've been thinking about what Mr. Aizawa told us about the dangers of being a hero, and, well, I guess I just convinced myself that we'd all persevere through whatever challenges came our way, like with the USJ attack, and that we'd graduate as a full class. I guess it's not that simple. Anyway, listen, Todoroki. I've been meaning to talk to you since the sports festival, but I never got the chance to properly do it. It's about you and your father, Endeavor. Shoto stopped chewing his food as he looked up at Midoriya with the cold, surprised look in his eyes.
What about him?
The boy questioned. Well, during the festival, I was heading to see Uraraka before her fight, and I saw you and Endeavor speaking to each other before your match with Kaminari. After your talk, you looked really angry about whatever he said. I just wanted to see if there was anything I could do to help you if something was bothering you.
I see. Well, don't worry about what you heard there, Midoriya. I'll be fine.
Todoroki, I want to, Midoriya.
You don't have to concern yourself. I appreciate the thought, but there's nothing you could do to help me with that. What you saw between us doesn't matter. I'll be fine. Really.
The two boys were silent as Todoroki resumed eating. However, Midoriya tightened his fists as he slowly grew resentful at Shoto's response. Ida said the same thing too, you know. Shoto's attention went back to Midoriya as he noticed his classmate look very distraught and upset with tears building in his eyes. After Ida found out his brother was hospitalized, I noticed his attitude changed. He didn't speak to me or Uraraka as much as he used to. He kept to himself a lot. He even acted unlike his unusual self. I asked him about 6 times if there was anything on his mind he wanted to talk about. I tried to be by his side and help him because I knew something was off with him, but he kept telling me not to worry about it and that everything was fine.
Midoriya,
I know you and I aren't close, but I noticed something was off with you the entire sports festival. From how you acted towards Kirishima in the warm-up room, how angry you looked after your talk with Endeavor, how all out you went with Kaminari, I want to help you with whatever's going on with you, because I'm worried about the possibility you'll end up making a reckless decision, like what Ida did.
Okay. Midoriya, I get it. I'm sorry. Midoriya calmed Izuku before he made a scene. He knew Midoriya was going to further pressure him on how he was during the festival and decided to tell the Green Knight the truth to help him understand this from his side. Okay, fine. Yes, the pro-hero Endeavor is my father. He's also the man that ruined my family for his selfish desire to have me become the future #1 hero. And I've resented him for years because of that. Todoroki spent the next 7 minutes opening up to Izuku about his past to help him understand his poor relationship with his father. He told Midoriya almost everything, from Endeavor arranging a quirk marriage to create Shoto, to how he was ruthlessly trained and psychologically scarred by his father to be the pro-hero to surpass All Might. He even brought up Endeavor's abuse of Shoto's mother, and how she eventually became mentally unstable from the trauma, resulting in Endeavor admitting her to a psych ward, where she remained for several years. He left out the part where his mother threw boiling water on his face, but he clarified that this was the major reason why he and most of his family resented him, even making a promise to become a pro-hero that would never use his father's powers in battle. So that's why we rarely see you use your fire, Midoriya deduced. Oh, wait, hold on. During your fight with Bakugo, there was a moment when we saw you use your flames, though. That was because my father kept yelling at me to use my left side during the match. I was so annoyed and enraged with him that for a brief moment, I lost control and didn't think straight. If I caved in and used my flames on Bakugo, I would have shown my father what he wanted. He would have won. Look, Midoriya, I understand you want to help me, but this thing with my father runs deep. I don't mean to turn down your offer for help, and I do appreciate the concern, but there's really nothing you can do to help me with this. Silence once more filled the space between the Class A students as Midoriya took a moment to process everything that Shoto told him. Okay, I get it. Honestly, Todoroki, you're right. I can't fix your family problems. But this power you have, it's not your father's quirk. It's yours. You're the one that decides what you do with your power, and the kind of hero you want to be with it. Not your father. If you want to resent Endeavor, that's fine. I mean, based on what you told me, you have every right to detest him. But you can do whatever you want with your quirk. You can be better than your father. Todoroki was quiet for several moments at what Izuku said. So much so that the Green Knight was worried he might have said something insensitive or touched a nerve. But Todoroki didn't show signs of anger. His expression was just blank. Alright. Midoriya, can we talk about something else? I just need time to think about what you said. I also want to stop thinking about my father. Sure. So, how was your internship? I heard you went to work with the #8 hero, Yoroi Mushi.
Whoops. Sorry about that. Your head's so big I accidentally hit it.
Oh, you're that Class B guy, Monoma. That kinda hurt, you know.
You know, a little birdie told me that your entire class has been feeling down lately, and I can imagine why. Izuku's eyes narrowed a tad as he didn't know where Monoma was going with this, but didn't have a good feeling about it. Let's see. First, my classmate Setsuna Tokage wiped the floor with you at the sports festival, then claimed first place in the final tournament, showing everyone in school and the millions who tuned into the games that my class is the superior one. Then your class president became a vigilante shortly after to go after a villain by himself and, well, you know. Midoriya couldn't believe what he just said. He was shocked at how insincere this guy was acting. As Monoma continued on, Izuku got angrier and angrier as his eyebrows started twitching. Seems like your class just can't catch a break, huh? It's just been one little blunder after another with you guys. And after all those rumors I believed about how gifted your class was. Well, thanks to your friend's actions, everyone in my class couldn't get the full, proper internship experience we were looking forward to. At this rate, I fear my class will become as inferior as you guys. Midoriya tightened his fist as his stand appeared from his body. What is it with your class anyway? It seems like you guys aren't content unless you cause enough trouble to become the ones that everyone talks about. Don't you think that kind of attention-seeking is dangerous? You might get more people caught up in your mess. And who knows, someone else even might end up like... Before Monoma could continue that sentence and Izuku could clock Monoma in the jaw, He was spooked by a strong grip on his right shoulder. He turned around and spotted his classmate Kendo, looking like she was seconds away from angrily chopping the back of his head. Monoma, I know you have a thing for antagonizing the Class A kids, but you're crossing a big line right now. Put the brakes on the teasing or I'll knock you out so hard you'll miss the rest of the day's classes.
What? Kendo, come on, I wasn't being serious.
Monoma, I mean it! You know what happened to Ida and how bad Class A is taking the news. Drop it! Or else. Alright, fine. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have messed with you guys like that. I apologize. Kendo let go of Monoma as he bowed his head to the green net and walked off as Kendo shook her head at the blonde boy's antics. Sorry about him. He's been like this since the festival. Also, I'm willing to bet there's a hole where his heart should be. Kendo stated as Izuku calmed himself for Monoma's words. So, hey, I heard from Shiozaki about your friend, Midoriya, and I'm really sorry about what happened. I know what it's like to lose a friend like that and how hard it can be. But, hey, if you ever need an extra pick-me-up, like someone to talk to or whatever, you could reach out to me or Shiozaki. We'd be more than happy to cheer you up along with anyone else in your class if they need it, okay? Okay, that's nice of you. Thanks. But why, though? I mean, I'm not turning down the offer, it's just... I thought you and your class hated us. What? Midoriya, we don't hate you guys, Okay, Monoma and like 3 others in my class hate you guys, but we don't all hate you. Monoma just riled up my class against yours for the festival. I mean, Shiozaki told me about you during her internship, and she really enjoyed working with you and said you were super nice. Also, my class is training to be heroes like yours is, and heroes have to have each other's backs in rough times, you know? Alright. That makes sense. Well, I appreciate the offer. Thanks. Hey, I don't think I got your name, by the way. Who are you? Huh? Did I seriously never introduce myself to you? Midoriya shook his head no in response. Huh. I thought I did. Well, I'm Kendo. Itsuka Kendo, from Class B. And I know for a fact that you're Izuku Midoriya, the boy my class was talking about during the sports festival. Wait, your class was talking about me? Oh yeah, you did good in the tournament, but yeah, we were talking about you, cause we were watching your matches with Tokoyami and that purple-haired general studies guy, and we had no clue what kind of quirk you had. One of my friends and classmates, Reiko, talked a bunch about you. She even called your quirk spooky. Wait, spooky? Midoriya parroted. Yeah, she's into ghost stories, horror movies, and other spooky stuff. Not my cup of tea, but yeah, she was talking about you. She even made a joke that you didn't have a quirk and you were instead possessed by some kind of ghost. Izuku's eyes widened and felt a chill go up his spine at that last thing Kendo stated. The girl even noticed Izuku's odd reaction and raised a confused eyebrow at the boy. Yeah, ghost. Yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I gotta head back to my table and have a follow-up chat with Monoma. But Midoriya, seriously, don't be afraid to reach out to me if you ever need a bit of cheering up, alright? I'll see you later. The orange-haired girl walked off as Izuku turned back toward Todoroki. Wow, she's nice. Kendo is Class B's rep. Ayurozu said she worked alongside her during her internship. She liked her. Todoroki noted as he resumed eating his lunch. Midoriya also continued eating his meal, but had a quick thought about one of the things Kendo said. What was the name of that girl Kendo mentioned that joked about me being possessed by a ghost? Reiko? I'll just have to remember that name if I meet her in the future. Just to be sure. "12 days later, and after 3 days of written exams, Class A had completed the first half of their final exams. The entire class spent well over a week hitting the books and studying hard, as their teachers stated that everyone who passed would be spending a week at summer camp, while those who failed would unfortunately be staying behind. At this point, everyone in Class A had somewhat shaken the grief they felt over Ida's passing, as 5 days ago, all of Class A and all of the UA staff had attended Ida's funeral and made whatever peace they could with the passing. The loss of their former leader would leave a sour impact for the class for months to come.
But no one could worry about that now, as they had to ready themselves for the challenge ahead.
Bakugo! You're looking fired up, man! Kirishima exclaimed. I heard Recovery Girl finally fixed your ribs the other day. That's awesome, man! Bet you're ready to cut loose after all this time, huh? Yeah. Now you all can stop talking about my damn injury and I can quit holding back. Hey! Everyone, listen up! When this exam starts, I'm gonna rip apart every robot I find, so stay out of my way! Hey, you're not the only one here that wants to eat s'mores by a campfire, you know? Save some robots for us! Ooh, so you kids think you're fighting robots, huh? Midnight teased as Aizawa took a few steps towards his class. Mineta was the first to notice Mr. Aizawa's new cybernetic arm implant and complimented how cool it looked, even comparing his teacher to some futuristic Terminator.
The new arm's not exactly state-of-the-art, but it should get the job done for what's in store today. Anyway, I have a feeling you kids were going to do some snooping around to find out what your finals would be and deduce that you'd be fighting robots like in the entrance exams. Well, for various reasons, we're switching things up. The students were confused at what Aizawa meant. That was until the little white mouse-like man himself, Principal Nezu, appeared from Aizawa's scarf to explain that the final exam would have everyone fighting in pairs against a member of UA High's academic staff. The students were stunned at the announcement of the challenge, as everyone wondered if they were skilled enough to have a chance at defeating a pro hero in a fight. Aizawa stated that everyone's opponents and partners had already been selected based on several key factors. For example, Momo Yaozu and Fumikage Tokoyami would team up against Mr. Aizawa, Masahiro Ojiro and Suyu Asui would team up against Powerloader, and as for Todoroki and Bakugo, the two strongest students in Class A who butted their heads on a near-daily basis, their opponent would be none other than All Might. Which shocked Bakugo as he realized he wouldn't just be fighting All Might, but that he'd be forced to work alongside one of his in-class rivals to do so. Wait, Mr. Aizawa, you said we'd be doing this test in pairs, but there are 19 of us.
Doesn't that mean there's an uneven amount of people for this exam?
There is, and I've taken that into account. When I selected your opponents and your partners, I left out one specific student that I wanted to give a special variation of the final exam to. That specific student is Midoriya.
Every student in the crowd turned towards the greenette as nervousness quickly washed over Midoriya's face. Wait, me? So wait, does this mean that I'm doing the final exam by myself?
Not quite. You'll be facing a UA staff member like the others are. However, I'm allowing you to choose one student in the class to be your partner for your test.
Izuku processed the precondition Aizawa announced and looked back at the 18 students behind him. Well, that was until he gazed at Bakugo, who eyeballed Midoriya like he wanted to throw him through a window. Izuku didn't need his stand to read that Kacchan had zero interest in being his partner.
However, I'll be adding a few stipulations to your exam compared to the others to keep things fair, so listen well. The only way you can pass your exam is if you either apprehend your opponent, or if you and your partner leave the combat area. So unlike the others, you won't pass if only one person escapes the combat stage, so don't leave your partner behind. Also, if your selected partner becomes unable to continue fighting through knockout or other reasons, you'll receive a failing grade, so choose your partner wisely. As for who you'll be facing...
The teachers turned their head toward the cloak-wearing pro hero Ectoplasm as he walked forward, glaring at the green-haired student.
You will be facing me, Midoriya. I hope you have what it takes to rise to the challenge.
I'm facing Ectoplasm! Oh jeez, this is gonna be rough.
Alright, it's time to begin. Sato, Kirishima, you're up first. The rest of you should use the time to strategize and approach with your teammates. Alright, get to it.
As the students dispersed, Izuku began contemplating his game plan against Ectoplasm. He had a unique advantage where he'd get to select anyone from the class to be his partner for the exam. As such, he knew it'd be best to head to the spectator room to watch everyone's fights unfold and carefully analyze the quirks and combat strategies of every student to find the person he needed. He was joined in the room by Recovery Girl to monitor the students' injuries, along with Uraraka, whose presence surprised Midoriya.
Hey, Uraraka, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be with Aoyama going over a strategy?
Well, I was planning on it and asked him several times if he had any ideas, but well...
Hey, who's that handsome guy?
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I thought I'd come here and chat for now. So, I know it's early, but have you chosen your partner yet? If you haven't, Well, I don't know how I'd handle myself against ectoplasm, but I'll help you if you need it.
Izuku appreciated the offer, but didn't want to make his choice just yet. Not until he watched everyone in action and noted who could support him best. Thanks to his hero fanboy knowledge, he knew ectoplasm specialized in keeping pressure on his opponents and overwhelming foes with his quirk. As such, Midoriya knew his stand would struggle in this fight, as he found out from his sports festival bout with Class B's Tokage that he struggled against multiple threats and attacks at once. He would have to choose a partner that would negate Act 2's drawbacks and support them long enough to get Midoriya the victory he needed. He just had to figure out who in his class was best suited for this task. Almost 3 hours later, all of the students, aside from Midoriya, had finished their exams. Izuku was able to watch every match from start to finish, jotting down every detail he could about the other students as the Greenette quickly looked back on the notes he took over the last few hours with Jiro and Uraraka by his side, with Kyoka asking her friend if he made his decision on his partner. "Yeah, I think I know who I need," Izuku nodded. "It's a stretch, but based on his performance and his quirk, I think he's the best choice. If he says no, I have a few others in mind that should be good picks. Unfortunately, neither of you are on that list. Don't take this personally, you guys. You both are my best friends. It's just, I don't think your quirks are going to help me against someone like ectoplasm." "Midoriya, don't sweat it, dude. We understand if you don't think we're cut out for this. You gotta think about yourself and do what's best to win this thing. You got this, man!" Jiro encouraged him as she lightly slapped Deku's back to give him a confidence boost.
We'll be rooting for you, Deku. Pass this exam and let's go to summer camp. Together!
Izuku smiled at the two girls as he put away his notebook and headed for the door, ready to take on the challenge that awaited him. 10 minutes later, Izuku was at the location of his final exam and was doing a brief pre-exercise stretch moments before his test began. In his mind, he was in a good mood, as the top person Midoriya wanted on his list of students had gracefully accepted his proposal for a team-up. Speaking of which, he could hear the footsteps of his selected backup coming his way now. "You ready to go, Midoriya? I'm ready when you are." "Yeah, I'm ready," the Greenette answered. "Thanks again for helping me out here, Shoji. I really appreciate the help." "Don't mention it. I'm always happy to lend a hand to my classmates whenever I can," the Dupla-armed student affirmed. "So, what's the plan on us beating this guy?" "It's very likely Ectoplasm's going to guard the exit and spread his clones out across the building to find us. So sneaking out of the area and avoiding a fight is going to be impossible. We're gonna have to pick the shortest route and fight through whatever he throws at us. Ectoplasm can only make 30 or so clones in one sitting, so we'll have to keep count on the number of clones he throws at us and reduce his numbers in small groups." Shoji nodded at Izuku as he cracked his knuckles and readied himself as the start of the exam was just seconds away. "You seem confident in your choice, Midoriya. Let's hope this goes as smoothly as you believe it will." Just then, the horn blared and the exercise began as Shoji and Midoriya made their move. On the other side of the building, Ectoplasm began creating about a dozen clones from the material in his mouth as the spawns instantly split up across the many hallways to find their opponents.
So, Midoriya believes Shoji is a student that will guarantee him a passing grade.
Ectoplasm thought to himself.
He's definitely one of the better picks he could have chosen. When it comes to physical strength, Shoji sits at the very top of Class 1A. However, it'll take more than brute force to win the day. I shall push these two to go beyond and test their resolve in the face of distress.
Nice work, Shoji! That's 2 down. We're roughly 2/3 of the way through this. About 8 minutes passed into the exam as Shoji and Midoriya spent roughly half their time fighting through the onslaught of clones that came their way. They took a few good hits in retaliation, but nothing that couldn't prevent them from continuing on. Shoji, for the most part, did the heaviest work, with Midoriya ordering his stand to support him whenever he could, heightening his senses and blocking kicks from the clones when they got an opening on the Dupla-armed student. Eventually, the duo reached a massive circular space with several floors that contained the exit gate. Midoriya spotted several clones along the ledge of some of the floors, with a lone ectoplasm standing near the exit, which Midoriya theorized had to be his real form.
Well done. You've nearly made it to the end, and with 15 minutes to spare. But what will you do against this?
The pro hero shot out a massive spew of plasm from his mouth, which took the form of a building-sized version of the pro hero. Izuku and Shoji froze in fear as they knew what this attack was. "It's Ectoplasm's finishing move! Shoji, look out!"
Giant bite detention!
The monstrous clone chopped up the floor Midoriya and Shoji were standing on as Izuku narrowly dodged the massive bite, using his recently acquired grappling hook to latch onto a nearby wall, reeling himself out of the way just in time. Holy whoa! That was close. It's a good thing I requested this grapple from Hatsume. Otherwise, I don't think I could have. Wait! Shoji! Shoji, where are you? It took a moment to spot his duple-armed classmate trapped on the back of the behemoth-sized clone ectoplasm created. Ugh! He's got me, Midoriya. I can't break free. I'm sorry. Oh no, he got Shoji! Uraraka observed from the spectator room. Oh no, wait! Mr. Aizawa said that if Shoji can't continue fighting, then Midoriya would lose the exam. Does this mean Midoriya failed? Not quite, dearie, Recovery Girl clarified. Shoji may be captured, but he is technically able to continue fighting if Midoriya can find a way to free him. Aizawa had a feeling Midoriya would rely on his selected partner to hold his hand through the rough parts of the exam. Without Shoji's brute strength to carry him, young Midoriya will now have to think for himself and get out of this predicament. Back at the combat stage, Midoriya was mostly frozen in dread at the sheer presence of the gargantuan ectoplasm clone he was facing.
Only I can get rid of the colossal spawn you see before you.
Ectoplasm stated as his attention went to the greenette.
You relied too much on Shoji's brute strength to carry you this far into the exam, Midoriya. I'm not impressed. Unless you can fight through insurmountable odds on your own footing, you will not have what it takes to be a hero. Now that Shoji can no longer protect you, you have no choice but to show me your true grit.
The smaller clones along the ledge moved to swarm the now vulnerable Midoriya as he panicked, realizing he was in trouble. He had to get out in the open and ran down a nearby hallway he spotted. He ran down the hall for about 5 seconds before turning around and readied himself to hold his ground. Dang it! Act 2! Get ready with that shield blast attack! We gotta stun as many clones as we can! And fight through the rest! However, something was wrong. Izuku's stand didn't respond to Midoriya's command, nor did he feel his stand's presence when he called to it. Act 2? Act 2! Where are you? Why aren't you? Izuku turned around and was shocked when his stand was seen on the ground, curled up into itself with the brown-colored shells surrounding its body. Act 2! Oh god, no! What happened? Midoriya rushed over to check on Act 2 and see why it wasn't moving. Act 2! It's... Wait. Is this... This happened to Personal Jesus back in the first week of school during combat training. Izuku remembered in his head. It stopped moving, dropped on the ground, and a shell grew over it. I thought it died, but... It changed form and got more powerful. Wait. Is Personal Jesus... Is it... Before Midoriya could finish that thought, the ectoplasm clones caught up to Midoriya, with one of the spawns kicking him hard in the back, knocking the boy several meters forward, landing on his face and feeling the wind knocked out of him.
I believe this is checkmate, Midoriya. I have Shoji in my clutches, and you are outnumbered on the defensive. Also, handcuffing one of the clones I've created will not have you pass the exam. So, what will you do now?
Midoriya tried to catch his breath as he looked at the group in front of him, counting about 7 clones standing in his path. If Midoriya can beat them all, the only threat he'd have left is the giant ectoplasm taking Shoji hostage, along with the real ectoplasm himself. Midoriya looked at Act 2's shell growing larger and turning orange, looking like it was seconds away from cracking open. He knew what was about to happen. All he had to do was buy himself a little more time. What will I do? Izuku wheezed as he slowly got back to his feet. Aside from one of those things, you're not wrong, sir. Yeah, this is a pretty bad situation I'm in. And yeah, on the surface, it doesn't look like I can get out of this. But I still have an ace up my sleeve.
Is that right? And what would that be? I fail to see how you can turn this fight in your favor, Midoriya.
Personal Jesus. Act 3. Within seconds of the third act stand emerging from its shell, its first instinct was to rush to Midoriya's side as Izuku was taken by surprise at the feeling of power that radiated from Act 3. He could easily tell this stand was more powerful than Act 2.
Midoriya, can you get up?
Yeah, I can. Wait, your mouth. It moved.
Yes. Now I can talk, Izuku. How do you wish to proceed? Please give me orders.
Orders?
This has gone on long enough. At this point, you're just wasting both of our times, Midoriya. It's time to finish this!
One of the clones facing off our protagonist made its move and rushed the teenage stand user. Seeing the incoming threat, Izuku gave his new stand its first order. Defend me, Act 3!
Understood.
The stand kneeled to the ground and placed its fingers on the floor tiles in front of Midoriya as the clone continued its charge. Act 3, what are you doing?
Midoriya, please step back for your safety.
What? Izuku didn't know what the stand had in mind, but obeyed it by taking a few steps back as the clone continued its charge for the green-haired teen, prepared to knock out Midoriya and end the exam. But then, the clone stepped on the floor tile Act 3 touched and grinded its rush to a dead stop. Huh? It stopped?
My body. I cannot move. What is this?
Just then, without warning, the clone turned around and blitzed back the way it came as the doppelganger clone began uncontrollably attacking the other ectoplasms in a mad frenzy, not holding back its strength and dispersing 4 of the clones in a matter of seconds, until 2 of the remaining clones teamed up against the rogue spawn, kicking it against the wall as the clone muttered,
What is this? I'm not doing this. I can't control my body.
Just then, in a disturbing fashion, the clone turned around, faced the wall, and repeatedly and brutally smashed its head against the wall about 5 times before the fake ectoplasm disappeared, leaving the 2 remaining clones and Midoriya shocked at what just transpired. What the heck? What? That clone attacked the others, and then it destroyed itself. Jesus Christ, Act 3! What was... Wait, did you do that? What was that just now? The stand turned its head to Midoriya and began to explain its ability.
I used my psionic landmine to assume control of the attacking threat, turning the clone against its friends to thin their numbers. Don't mourn their loss. They were fakes after all.
Wait, psionic landmine? Assuming control? What are you talking about? What kind of power was that, Act 3? Tell me.
I told you, Midoriya. Psionic landmine. I can plant a touch-activated trap onto any non-living object my fingers touch. If someone touches an object I place the landmine on, the trap activates, allowing me to remotely gain control of the subject's bodily movements. Temporarily.
Seriously? So I have a power that lets me control people like puppets now? That's insane! It's almost like the quirk that— Act 3, look out! In a last-ditch effort, the 2 remaining clones charged Midoriya to get in whatever they could. But then...
Enjoy the silence!
Midoriya's stand had successfully destroyed the remaining clones that faced Midoriya as the stand turned itself towards its master and informed him that it completed its task and defeated all the present threats in the area. As such, Act 3 asked Midoriya to give it a new order. Holy whoa. That power, that was... Yeah, hold on, I just need a moment to think. Izuku began going over what just happened along with a plan on passing the exam. His only remaining threats were the giant ectoplasm trapping Shoji, along with ectoplasm's true form guarding the exit. He couldn't leave the area without Shoji, otherwise he'd fail the exam. It took the Greed at about roughly 2 minutes, but he deduced his final plan and gave his order to Act 3 for how he was gonna achieve victory. Thank you all so much for sticking around, and I really, really hope that you enjoyed this. This was so much fun to narrate, even though I messed up a lot of times. You won't get to hear it in the final result. Before you leave, we'd just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates, including reading memes and the Abridged project that will be coming back up shortly. We're just in the process of reconfiguring everything, so that way we can get My Hero Bridged up and running again. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye, JoJo, and have a divine day.